So we've decided for this show we're going to do the movie Heat. It's a 1995 crime thriller starring Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, directed by one of my favorite directors, Michael Mann. And yeah, I love the movie. So Basil, you just watched it recently. What do you think?
All right, I love the movie. The movie is really good. I love the performances. Performances are top notch. Like everybody is like doing 100% on this. I didn't like the soundtrack. I'm gonna say that much. Like I feel like the soundtrack was too much like 90s rock and like I kind of like I think when I was watching it I was like, man, I wish there was like a Trent Reznor like ambient soundtrack for this thing where it's just like but like you know
It's an
what I
interesting observation. And while I don't really agree, but I can kind of see your point. But Michael Mann does have that. Like, you ever watch his movie Manhunter, which is kind of like the first kind of
the
elect.
first Silence of the Lambs, right?
It's a great movie, but oh my god, the soundtrack is so annoyingly 1985 that it's almost distracting. And I've kind of maybe just as a thing he has where it's like it's going to turn into like every movie, it's going to eventually turn into a period piece as decades go by. So we're going to have this. He doesn't want it to be timeless. He wants this to be like at this
A
point in time,
snapshot of the time.
snapshot, and music's going to reflect that. It never annoyed me. I have to go watch it again and think of it just in the music. But whatever it wasn't enough to distract me from it. But that is an observation. Honestly, I've never heard anyone say that before.
Fair enough. I think it's specifically like towards the end scenes where everything's going crazy and like there's just like heavy guitar music going on. I'm like, I like it, but I'm also like, you could raise the tension by not having the heavy guitar music. But then this is just like sensibilities from like, what is it, 1995? So like 30 years down the road. So like obviously, like
I'll have to go
hindsight
back
is
and
like
watch it.
2020.
Like
Do you know
it's
what I really liked is the scene where they have the big giant shootout in the middle of LA and like I think I mentioned this to a friend I was watching it with. Like in this movie specifically, like guns mean something. Like nobody's getting up after they get shot by a bullet. Like they're all going down. Whereas in like in other more conventional action movies, like you can take 7 bullets and then you can like still like fire off a shot or two.
yeah,
Um,
it's real. I've even read somewhere that like they show that movie. I don't know if it's like in the military or police training or something. They show that as an example of the proper way to like retreat or like some. I know I'm not a military guy, but to reload, just the way they reload their guns and everything. And it was
that I mean, it
all that
makes
movie,
sense.
all the movie, like none of it was done on a sound stage. It was all on location, all
So
real
did they shut
guns.
down like downtown LA or like that big
Yeah,
giant road in LA to shoot that scene? Because I can't imagine how much they must have had to like separate everything.
yeah, and it wasn't like there was no you know, fake guns with CGI like
No, 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 no.
it was like all real, and it was, and even just the sound, like if you listen to that with like headphones on,
It's I was listening to it and like just the speakers, like I was just like, this is loud and like there's no backing music. It's just like shots and like screaming.
yeah, I
Uh,
think that's like it's probably one of the best like shootout scenes in any movie
I
ever.
would agree. I
It's
think
so
Tom
well made.
Sizemore stood out in terms of performance. I really like Tom Sizemore, even though he's not in it for like a lot of it. Like I liked his character and I liked like the craziness he had in his character.
Yeah, like the characters are so good, and it's kind of weird the way it works too, because it's like you got the bad guys and you got the good guys, and they are kind of very similar. And they have the famous scene where Al Pacino, who's like the head cop, and Robert De Niro, who's the head bad guy, they sit down for coffee, and it's kind of like they have the same job. It's just they're on the flip side of it. One guy's the bad guy, one guy's the cop, and it's kind of like it's nothing personal between them, but they even say it's like, look,
You
we've
play
seen
your
this
role, I
face
play
to face,
mine.
but it's like I'm a cop. It's like if it comes down to it, I'm gonna have to shoot you. And the other guy's like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, I'm not gonna go to jail, so I'm gonna have to shoot you. He's like, I'm not gonna like it, so it's like no hard feelings, but we kind of know what side of the fence we're on. But another interesting layer of it is that if you look at the way that their groups work, it's like Robert De Niro, like Neil's character, him and his like crew of like robbers, they're very tight. Like they're good friends. Like they even, he's having his buddy's having a problem with his wife. He goes and tries to
And
settle
helps
it.
him out.
So they're like really good friends. Whereas Al Pacino, the cop, they're just work colleagues, right? And you can tell like the you know, Bosco, the other dude, is like, a good friend, like they go for lunch and stuff, but they're really just work colleagues. They're not as tight as
Yeah.
Robert De Niro because Robert De Niro's crew, they have higher stakes. And one of
Well,
the other
again,
guys,
like Tom Sizemore is like, if you're in, I'm in. Like he's
yeah,
basically devoted to Robert De Niro.
yeah, they're just like they're way closer friend. Where the other guys are like, this is our job. Like, if I don't work for the police anymore, like I'm not gonna go act like I'm gonna do something else. Like I'm not gonna put my
Yeah.
life on the line. Whereas the other guys are like they put their life on the line for them. Um and what's the guy's name? Like Angelina Jolie's dad,
John Voight, man.
John Boy. Yeah,
I
he's
like
like
that they let him show up in just whatever he was wearing and just go on screen.
yeah, he's just yeah, I don't know, he's kind of like their mentor kind of guy. But he even says to Robert De Niro, he's like Al Pacino, like the cop. It's like he can hit and miss. Like if he
Yep.
doesn't bust you, whatever, he goes to work the next day. If you miss, like you're either going to get killed or go to prison for a long time. So the kind of the stakes are different, but it's just kind of weird how they even have a scene where like the bad guys they go for dinner with their wives and stuff, and you kind of see
Mhm.
them what they do when they're just being normal, and then you see the cops they all go for dinner with their. So it's kind of like a lot of movies are
There's
like
parallels.
the bad guys. The bad guys are evil, or it's like not necessarily like they're. It's like they still go out and they got family stuff to deal with too, and even Tom Sizemore, like he's basically like a psycho killer, but
But he's
he's
got
got
a
a
wife,
wife, got a
girlfriend.
kid. He's trying to he's trying to live his life too, and he's other than being a horrible murderer, like he's not necessarily a bad guy. Whereas Al Pacino, he's the good guy. He's trying to stop them, but he's kind of an
He's kind of a
asshole.
dick.
Yeah. So it's like, he just like ignores his wife and, just has all this strife in his life. And then, his stepdaughter tries to kill herself and he's just not present. And so it's kind of like, it just kind of blurs that line of like who's good and who's bad.
And talk about casting too. I feel like every 90s actor is in that movie. Like I would be so interested to find out who was in the background of those like shootout scenes and stuff. Because I bet you like some huge stars were in the back of those scenes at that moment.
Yeah. Even like I do it with like a lot of movies. I'll go on IMDb and I'll just start clicking on every character and I'll be like, oh, that guy was the guy from this other movie.
Oh, I
Oh,
do that too. You do that too.
and it's just like, yeah, then you kind of like some of them are unrecognizable, but yeah, like um oh crap, who's the guy that played the blonde hair guy? Chris the Hairless, the character.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, like he kind of was hit and miss over his career, but this is kind of like I think this is the movie where like everyone peaked.
Do you know
It's
what?
kind
I
of like
realized over the course of this movie that Val Kilmer is my guy. I've loved every movie I've ever seen him in. Like this was new information to me, but I was just like, man, I like Val Kilmer.
he's honestly he's really good and he doesn't talk much. Like he doesn't say a lot. He's kind of a quiet guy. Like he just like he probably has like 15 lines in the whole movie. Like he doesn't talk a lot. Tom Sizemore talks a lot. Al Pacino talks a lot. But you can tell Chris like everything he does is like through his actions and even just like little bits if you notice like when they're trying to break into that like to steal
Into
that like
the
metal like the precious
Yeah, and he's
metals.
like drilling, and he's like,
Yeah,
wow.
just like seeing him do that, just the way he like, when they have to like run and the way he like, it's like they have everything prepared. Like if we get busted, take off your gloves and shit, leave them behind so you don't,
Mhm.
and just the way he like acts, it's one of those things where like a bad actor would make that look stupid. Where it's just they had like everything. It's like
He
when you're
plays a
climbing up
degenerate
electrical
so
poles.
well.
Yeah, it's like they just prepared. Like you can tell the movie was like so well rehearsed. And there's also like all the little plot lines. There was like the Donald Breenan, the guy that just got out of prison. He was working that shitty job, and then he gets the chance. It's like, hey, you want to go participate in this robbery? And he's
And then
like,
he gets
yeah,
shot.
and he gets killed. And it's only like a small part in the movie. And then there's the other, with the one Waingro, the bad guy who turns
Yep.
out he's like murdering prostitutes. Like all these little things that don't necessarily, they're not even really wrapped up.
But they
But
add color in there. Like Tone Loc scene in there, that added
yeah, yeah,
color in there
that's one of my
too.
favorite scenes too. It's just like how, like the whole movie, like just on that one little coincidence that that one snitch's brother happened to run into the one guy who just happened
And
to kind of say one little thing, and that like opens up
Triggered everything.
whole movie. Because yeah, because they even Robert De Niro and his buddies, they're like how the fuck are the police onto us? Like where did this come from? And I bet you they never figured it out. Like it was so random. And it kind
So
of makes
what?
is that how it works in real life? Like the police just they'll interview everyone that knows the murder victim, and some tiny thing will just trigger some lead. Like
Oh, I bet you they're always trying to like get an informant in or like get that. Yeah, I bet you that's where a majority of cases get broken is someone has to say something. Otherwise, yeah. So what would you end up rating it? Is Heat like your perfect 10?
I would have like part of me I don't want to give any movie a perfect 10 because it's like you
I
know
get it.
because then what do you do when you see a movie that's better, right? I kind of want to leave some wiggle room, but I would say it's as close as possible. Um, there are like I'm sure there's very minor things I didn't like about it, but it's not enough. Like I'm not gonna criticize it for anything. So it's like for me, it's up there with like The Godfather of like near perfection, and it's one that I
Yeah,
come
I'd give it a
back to
nine.
like
I'd
a
say it's
lot.
like there. Again, like it's just such a top level performance. Where do you go from there? Like you've done like the best. I think I saw it back to back with Ronin because that was another De Niro movie from the 90s. And like Heat's the better movie, I think. Like
Yeah, I like Ronin a lot. It's a cool movie, but Heat
Heat's
is
the better one.
like yeah, it's better. Like Michael Mann is like he's a very good director. Like I was come back to Manhunter, which is funny because I've heard that he hates that movie because it was like so rushed and like just things went wrong. But you wouldn't know to look at it. Like it's just there's something about his movie. Like it's not like a modern action movie where there's a cut every like 1.5 seconds. Like
Agreed.
it's like he's like here's a good looking shot and everything is well staged and well
He
taken.
spends his time with it.
Yeah, it just and like the I think he like wrote it too, or he like at least he worked on the script. But it's like the dialogue is just like top notch,
It is.
and he's like even has his own lingo in it. Because there's a movie called Thief with James Caan.
With James Caan, right?
Yeah, and it's like it's similar language. It's almost like it's in the same universe. Like the
I love Thief. Honestly, I might have to rewatch that with that in mind. I never even thought of them being in the same universe. But like,
yeah, if you listen to it, it's like they have the
who
same
was the
lingo.
old? Who was the guy that they were talking about? That was that the guy from Thief? Maybe the guy was like De Niro was like, remember, so and so said I met an old con back in the thing, and he's like,
Oh yeah,
you got to walk away like within 30 seconds.
yeah, Jimmy McElroy. I don't know. That was the guy's name in Heat. I don't know if that's his character name or something, but yeah, actually, that's a good fan theory that could have been
Yeah,
because yeah, that would have been like because the movie was like 10 years earlier or something or maybe more.
about like 78 or something. I think
Yeah,
was
so it
was
could have
Thief.
been like so yeah, it could have been that same character.
Hey. I'm really gonna rewatch Thief and keep that in mind.
All right, well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy, guys.